What's up, everyone? I'm the Kaiju no Kami, and here we are at long last. The most recent and final game, sort of, in the Yakuza series. Lost Judgment. Lost Judgment continues the adventures of Yagami and Kaito as they are thrown into a new murder mystery that deals with bullying and suicide. A student teacher to a private school in Jinjo, the city from Like a Dragon, which was pretty cool to get to explore in the standard Yakuza playstyle as opposed to being an RPG, had been found murdered, and a cop who is being tried for groping a woman on a train seems to know about the murder before it is even released publicly.
3日前に横浜のハイビルから死体が出てきたはずです。もう身元は分かりましたか？その死体の主は三越柴博と言います。彼は4年前、私の息子を自殺に追いやった。
In the meantime, Yagami is hired by the head of the very same private school, named Seiro High School, to investigate possible bullying within the school. What this leads to is another murder mystery of suspense and intrigue as Yagami starts to unravel a dark past revolving around former bullies. Moreover, a new gang of thugs is spawned from the events of Yakuza Like a Dragon that end up causing more pain for Yagami than initially conceived once the origins behind this gang are discovered.
こんなチャンスめったにねえぞ。動画撮っとけ。お。
If you have played Judgment or been following my reviews up to this point, you should know how the game plays out in execution. The crane and tiger fighting styles return along with a new one, the spectacular snake style. Yagami's motions are quite fluid and fast, as if he were Christie from Dead or Alive, on top of having a counter style similar to the one Tanamura had way back in Yakuza 4. The snake style adds a new level of combat, and I found myself favoring it over Crane and Tiger. The heat moves are back with a couple of new additions that include Yagami teasing a fearful enemy into pissing themselves, not literally, I think. And some combo attacks that occur when others are with you. The woman from Yagami's old law firm, who went undercover as a hostess in the last game, returns for another few spy missions. You also gain a dog detective that will often help you, be it in finding missing objects or sniffing out criminals.
来たな。よしよし。よしよし。
The minigames are for the most part the usual suspects, with a Sonic fighting game included into the mix of arcade games. And boy, does that game suck. It does seem like they have cut back immensely on the gambling games, for many of them were absent in both Judgments. The virtual dice game returns with some new additions that include digital opponents. Thankfully, you do not need to rely on this game to make money as in the first Judgment, for Lost Judgment gives you plenty of money-making opportunities. That doesn't mean you can avoid this game, however, as one of the side stories is tied to it, requiring you to take on virtual versions of 7 characters from the franchise. The results in the end are quite hilarious and well worth the trouble. Drone racing is back, if that's your thing. I got so over drone racing from the first one that I just pretty much skipped it outside of the one side mission you had to play the first match in. On the subject of the side stories, they continue to be fun. The tailing missions have been reduced significantly, while the chase sequences are even more tedious. They seem to be nothing more than boring on-the-rails chases where you just run around in a continuous circle while you wait for the target's health to deplete. Some of them are accompanied by awkward-sounding music that feels out of place with the rest of the game's tone. A few notable side cases included one dealing with a robber where you had to approach him hiding in a box. Someone's been playing Metal Gear Solid recently, although I also liked trying to tackle this by dressing up as Onomichio. One with a man living in the ceiling of an office building, befriending cats to find a mysterious phantom ramen cart. Sneaking into a school for Russian ninjas. Investigating a report of a living body model. Another featuring overworked video game developers and an easily angered man who feels game designers do not need feelings. Well now, that sounds a bit relevant. A series of tales where you have to track down a crooked detective.
Bingo.
Follow a child who is on his first errand ever that leads to some hilarious results after Kaito and Yagami get their heads stuck in an advertisement standee.
節々が痛くなってきた。俺は周りの人の視線が痛いよ。なんかだんだん慣れてきたな、俺ら。運動会に出たら最強なんじゃねえか？どこの世界の運動会にか。
And then you have to play the video game the team I mentioned earlier was working on.
やっべ。
Good luck figuring out what the hell you are supposed to do in that one. The controls for that are just utter trash. There is a bar that specializes in befriending the female bartenders, one of whom is a Toku fan. The biggest side content for Lost Judgment involves Seiro by becoming an advisor to the school's mystery club. This segment opens up a whole new string of stories that have you helping Seiro's various clubs or activities such as dancing, skateboarding, racing motorcycles, and anything else that high school students do that they aren't supposed to be doing. You should know what to expect out of the dancing club, and if you suck at rhythm games like I do, you will be glad to know that they have a very easy setting that makes it so you can get away with winning the song by hitting any button as opposed to specific ones. Whew, thank the gods at Sega for small favors. The Robotics Club has what is hands down the most frustrating games of all, for you have to build robots and beat the other teams in a way more complicated version of capture the flag than necessary. I spent countless hours losing match after match before I finally found some good details online that helped me win. Let's just say that I ended up having to ignore anything my opponents were doing, just collect the orbs to build a bridge between my base to theirs, and hope my vehicle was faster than theirs to achieve this goal.
いいですぞ。
マジかよ。
よし。
Good God! Was it beyond annoying and really impeded my enjoyment of this game? This may be the worst minigame, side story, whatever, in the entire Yakuza series. Yes, between all 10 of these games, this was the one I hated the most out of all of them. The bike racing missions were mostly fun, as it's more like you're playing a vehicular combat racing game with a lot of colorful characters, such as these Mad Max rejects. Women who dream to die during a race and go to Valhalla.
今夜のギグが始まるぜ。こいつは死にゆくレーサーたちに捧げるデッサン。死にも飛び起きるパンクが生かしたレクイエムだぜ。
And then these shady bastards with guns. There's an esports club in Seiro that has you playing Virtual Fighter 5. Knockout! A boxing side story. A girl who constantly wins in poker, and you have to unravel how she is so good at the game. And as I mentioned, Yagami pulls out his inner Tony Hawk for skateboarding competitions, and being able to ride a skateboard around the city for faster travel. The soundtrack is always a pleasure to listen to, with tracks that come off quite intense when they need to be.
なあ、言うても俺ほとんど実行委員に顔出しとらんで。 幽霊部員みたいなもんや。そもそもくじ引きで選ばれただろ。
なんだあいつら。何カッコつけてんだ。妙な貫禄出して。
清涼高校へはこちらからタクシーで
もし
参りましょう。
その代償を澤先生が身代わりに払わされたんだとしたら、あんたらの復讐こそ不公平じゃなかったか。
彼女は法廷で
I cannot stress how much I love the techno-industrial-esque score found in both of these games. Bosses continue to be a tad easier than I expected, at least until I had to fight that mother Amon. Oh my god. At least this version did not steal Yagami's phone, so I was able to use up nearly every healing item during my fight against him, since this mother loves to heal himself every moment he got the chance. As with the other games in the series, I highly enjoyed my time with Lost Judgment, and I'm kind of sad that it's done because this was practically a year of my gaming life. I spent so much time in Kamen Roadshow and the other locales of the Yakuza series that it feels weird to be done with them. 10 games in 12 months. And I enjoyed almost every second of it. I highly recommend Lost Judgment if you are a fan of the series. I definitely say you do need to play Judgment first, because you won't understand anything going on in Lost Judgment, or most of what's being talked about at times. You will understand stuff, just not to the fullest. I cannot wait to see what the studio does next. Until next time, bye!
はああ。